I don't have the rundown. Oh, unless you
Mhm.
want to email it to me right quick, and then I can pull it up on my computer since that's up and functioning.
Oh yeah, let me do that for you.
Appreciate you.
Gotcha. You know, because when you're working in 19,
Don't
okay,
do
sorry.
it.
All right, that's that. My bad. SF West Pace Shells Rundown.
I probably could use my. Oh no, we don't want that.
Could use what?
I was gonna put the other headphones back in so I can move my head without making noises that make you angry at me.
No, I don't hear anything. It was. I think it was when you were setting up. It was just. But if I hear it, I'll let you know because it people can hear that.
Okay, I got it.
You got it.
Mm-hmm.
So you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Giggle gang, what's up? It's your girl, it's Irene, and welcome back to another dope and exciting episode of FSG Podcast. Like I told you guys last week, this is the 4-year anniversary of the show. Like I've been talking to y'all for 4 damn years, y'all. This is crazy. I don't even understand how I have so much to talk about. I just be out here. But this week, I know I say this every week, y'all, and I know I say this part every week, but for real, I have a very, very, very special guest on the show, a veteran, if you will. I have the original, my one and only co-host, Shells. Shells,
Hey, people. Hey, co-host.
what's Poppington?
How are you?
I'm super, super good. I'm super excited. This is, it's like, I don't know, it's serendipity. Like, look at you. I'm looking at
I
you.
well, no, look at you, friend, because
Mm,
I'm so excited to be able to be here to celebrate 4 years with you. I
It's
don't know how
crazy.
you've had that much to talk about either.
I don't know, man. Things just keep happening, and I just keep having opinions about them and perspectives. And I'm like, let me share them with the good people. But as I was preparing for this 4-year anniversary, I was like, I gotta, I gotta think of something different. I gotta think of something nostalgic. I gotta get Shells back on the show for
Oh,
the
well,
week. Like you just have to.
well, thank you. Well,
It
I'm
only
glad to
makes
be
sense.
here. I'm excited to be back. And I honestly cannot tell you how many times since I left the show that something has happened. And I was like, dang, I wish I could talk about that on FSG.
You
Dang,
can
that would be good to talk about on FSG.
you can
Oh,
always text me. You can always hit us up on hit me up on social media. Like
that's nah, I'm not hitting you up on social media. Ain't no damn fan. I will call your phone.
I'm saying if you want to talk, if you want the Giggle Gang to also talk about it, or you want me to talk about it on the show, you know how to get in contact with me. Stop acting brand
You're
new.
right. You're right. You're right. Well, as we move into this fourth year of your awesomeness and of FSG's continued growth
Yes,
and expansion, I will be sure to do that.
please do. Just don't send
Hmm.
me no would you rather's. I appreciate it. Thanks.
I don't think I played that game in 2 years for what it's
I'm
worth.
I'm surprised. Really?
Although the kids the other day have Alexa, Cam has Alexa in her room, and I came upstairs and they were playing Would You Rather with Alexa.
Of course,
And
because they get it honest.
well, what can I say?
Anyway, what you been up to? Like it's been about what year and a
Some
couple of months.
change.
Like
Yeah.
what's been good? Not that you and I haven't spoken. Like me and Shells talk, y'all, but
Yeah.
like since the Giggle Gang has heard from you on the Giggle Gang stage, if you will.
Yeah. Much of the same, man. I mean, the kids are growing quickly and keeping me very busy. I don't know. Had I started working when I
I don't
left? I
can't
don't
remember. I feel like you did.
or maybe I was like in transition for
Hmm.
it. So I'm still working at the university, and it's going well. Definitely gotten busier, but finding my groove. It's interesting when you have conversations with your managers and they're like, "You're good at what you do, but I don't think you want to do this."
Oh yeah, that was
You
me in
know,
college.
yeah, and I'm like, I feel like this is a good thing, and you're invested in my, like in my development. But for job security, I don't know how good it feels for you to be like, I don't know if this the I don't know if this the spot for you, boo. But it's all good. I think that they recognize kind of the work that I really, really enjoy doing, which I appreciate. So things are good. Charles is doing a little bit more traveling than he has in the past, but it's good for him for
Okay.
growth and development. Cam will be starting kindergarten in August.
Oh my God.
Get into that, Giggle Gang.
She's a grown ass woman.
Yo,
What's popping with my boy Cole?
Cole, he's doing very well. He's doing very well. He's busy. He loves soccer and baseball still. Right now, we're kind of between both sports. Baseball is getting ready to start up. It's officially opening day as of today for Major League Baseball. So he, is out here just being a little athlete, a little socialite. He's doing well in school.
Of course.
Um, and he plays Fortnite. I don't think I talked to you about this.
Yo, like, what is this Fortnite situation? Like, I remember being at Mara's house, our line sister Mara,
Yep.
last year, and her kids wanted to show me Fortnite, like, and they're going through this fortress and mazes. What is that?
It's like the Hunger Games
Okay.
in a video game.
Yeah, this is gonna turn into a movie and a franchise. I see it
Yeah.
because
And it's kind of been in the news because it's violence, but it's not gory. Like literally the whole game is running around and shooting people, and you win the game by being the last of the 100 left at the end.
what?
But there's no like blood in it, and there's nothing, there's no body part. So people just kind of vanish, like,
Uh-huh.
once they. So we told the line, and I actually was really hesitant to let him start playing it. And then Charles plays it with him. It's interesting because it's social, like other people, it's live players. You're not playing against the computer, you're playing
Right.
against
Wasn't there
other real
something
life
with like
people.
people like I don't know, messing with kids or trying or
It's
danger, safety,
Yeah, which is
stranger
always a
danger?
risk, I think, when you're doing anything online where other people who you don't have a face you can't see, but you can talk to them and you can message. So we set, some boundaries in that, like, you can't friend anybody that you don't know,
Mhm.
don't want you talking to people you don't know, and those kind of things. And thankfully, Charles is interested in it enough that he like will sit in there with him or
Mhm.
play with him. But he won the other day. He won his first, like, he won the game, the
Okay.
top of 100, and he was so excited, like screamed to the top of his lungs. I don't think I've ever seen him this excited about doing anything ever in his life. But it was a good moment, and I was like, as much as I've kind of debated whether or not Fortnite is okay or not, seeing the joy in his winning that game kind of made it all worth it. Now granted,
Well,
he had to kill 99 other people.
see, I can't. Okay. Well,
I know.
like
it's
what?
it's tough in these streets. What can you do?
Well,
But
shout out.
he's doing great.
That's what's up. Shout out to Cole and Cam. Like they just little people out here doing their
They
thing.
are.
Speaking of Cole and Cam, we're gonna go ahead and get right into the show. Start off with a
Yeah.
little icebreaker, even though I know most of the Giggle Gang know who you are and what you're about and all that good stuff. But just want to ask you a question. What's the most ridiculous? Because I'm ridiculous, and this is what you know what it is. It's what
Yeah.
FSG is about. And you are, I like to call super mom. I know you like Irina and whatever.
No.
You are super mom. I think most moms are super mom. You guys do some incredible things. And we're going to get into doing some, I don't want to say incredible, but some ridiculous things for your kids or what have you.
Yeah.
So yeah, what's the most ridiculous thing you've done at a PTA meeting or at a parent teacher conference of sorts? Because I know that you be at these things. So
Yeah. Um, the most ridiculous thing. I'm generally well behaved at these events.
I bet.
I have a reputation to maintain. Now that I'm working on now that I'm working on this leadership team on the district level,
Right.
I have to try to, look like somebody responsible in the community these days. I try to play with the kids a little bit.
Hmm.
And kids can make you do silly stuff just in like entertaining them.
Hmm.
They're not so interested. So I'm good for like playing with a smaller sibling with their little toys while they're there. I'm also good with redirecting children.
Hmm.
Like, small people go in the wrong direction often. I'm happy to pick them up and bring them back to you.
But what's
That
the
could
most ridiculous? You telling us all the good stuff that you do.
Oh, that's
I
not
want to know.
ridiculous enough.
I want to know what's the most ridiculous thing you've done, and if it's because you're on this board, you don't want to say.
No, it's no, honestly, I'm pretty boring. I don't think I've done anything ridiculous. And it's largely because I'm on the board. I
Exactly.
think.
I
I
knew
think
that.
I think that's it. I do pretty well. Oh, but I do have one for Cam school. They had an event. I gotta say this softly in case she's nearby. They had an event where PJ Masks came and the school ordered the costumes, the full body PJ Masks costumes.
Mhm.
And I was a PJ Mask. That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever done.
Did she know that you were in the costume?
No, and she did not mess with me. Like she was not interested in this big ass character coming trying to give her high fives and hugs. She was the only kid in her whole daycare that had zero interest in my existence and didn't want me anywhere near her. But those things are hot. Have you ever worn one of those?
No, I was just gonna ask, what is a PJ
Yeah.
mask? What is that?
Oh damn, sorry, I forget. That's not like
What are you talking about?
it's a cartoon where there's these little kids who turn into superheroes at night, PJs, right? So you're
Uh-huh.
sleeping. So at nighttime they turn into these superheroes and they go and solve problems. There are things that do mischievous things in the night, and the PJ Mask, sneak out of their bedrooms in their pajamas, which turn into awesome costumes, and then they go and fix things in the middle of the night. It's a cute little show, and she really likes it. But we wore these full body costumes with the big heads, like fingers covered. Um,
I'm
and
laughing because nothing has changed. You
no,
you literally went. I don't even know where you went before you got to the PJ mask. I'm like, okay, that's what it is.
it
I've never
was.
heard of that. Does that come
Oh,
like on Netflix or something? Like
I
what
think
is
it's on Nickelodeon. It's
uh
just one of those like new age cartoons for the
yeah.
young
But
kids.
to see you in a costume, I would have loved to see that. Is there a
Well,
picture?
yeah, there's a picture. I'll send it to you. It's just hot as shit. So if anybody ever says, "Hey, do you want to wear, a costume for an event?" Just say no, because it is incredibly hot, and the kids don't care because you're just supposed to be a fun, lovable character. So you got to bop around and be all happy, and it's awkward, and your head can't fall off because then you'll just ruin kids' dreams. Yeah, that was the most ridiculous thing, and I don't think I'll
So they're
ever.
like they're comparable to like the costumes that you see like out on
The side
Rodeo
of the road.
on the road and
That's it.
Hollywood Walk of Fame and all that other stuff like
Mm-hmm.
Hollywood Boulevard. Okay, got it.
Yep. And
Got it.
those people who are doing that for businesses, I hope they get paid a lot of money because
I'm almost positive that they're not.
I agree.
I
You're
you know.
right. I know that.
All right. Well, that was interesting, Shells. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
You haven't skipped a beat. All right, let's go ahead and get around the water cooler. We have quite a few topics to talk about this week, and it seems to go from relatively good or really good to just a shit show. So we'll start with the good stuff.
Okay.
Our good friend, our auntie, our forever first lady, Michelle Obama, is on track to becoming one of her book becoming is on track to becoming the becoming
that did sound funny.
Yeah. It's on track to becoming the best-selling memoir, selling over 10 million copies of the book. I have to say I'm super excited. She is the last book that I've purchased and the first book that I've purchased in a while. And I purchased it solely off the strength that it was Michelle Obama's book.
Right.
It's funny because a friend of mine asked me if I had the hard copy, and I was like, yeah, I actually bought the hard copy because he wanted it. He was like, oh, if you don't want it, I'll take it. I'm like, nigga, what?
Right.
I want this. Like, this is
Right.
definitely a collector's item. So super proud and super happy for her. Did you actually get the book?
I don't have a hard copy. So I have become a huge fan of Audible and
Oh,
audiobooks.
okay.
And so I downloaded it like right away and I listened to it and I loved it. And she narrates the
Yes.
audiobook.
Yes.
So it felt like
Oh,
it
that's
really did
dope.
feel like an intimate conversation with Michelle Obama for, a week. I was like, she's just talking to me and
I
telling
might
me
need
all
to
her
do that.
secrets.
I might
It's
need to download that.
Yeah, it's really good. And then after I finished it and started talking to people who had the hard copy of it, then I wanted to get it. So I plan to get the hard copy because I recognize after the fact that there's pictures and stuff in there that
Hmm.
clearly you don't get in the audio version. But I mean, having read it, it's a story, a memoir that I could definitely read again.
Yeah.
I just I think my respect and admiration for her grew in listening to it and hearing the story a
And
lot.
yeah, and hearing it because it's like you've seen a lot and you've done a lot and you're real.
That's
She's
yeah,
It's
so
like
real.
you're very, very real. So shout out to Michelle Obama. She's fucking amazing. Oh my
Yep,
God. If only I could bump into Michelle Obama
I'm sure you will, friend.
on the show. I'm gonna figure it out.
Hmm.
So yes, I think that is the one and only
Positive thing
positive thing we have to talk
in the
about.
lineup.
Right. So let's get to the shit. Monica, she's from Atlanta,
Yep.
songstress, R&B star Monica, and her husband Shannon Brown are splitting up,
Yeah,
which
I
is
heard that.
kind of strange to me when I heard that. So I heard it last night,
Hmm.
and I don't know. Like I'm like I don't want to say I'm surprised, right? Because I think we do that a lot in society. Like,
Yeah,
oh my God, I'm just so surprised, and it's like,
yeah,
why are you surprised? Like you're not
right.
in
The
their
relationship.
relationship. Like
Yep.
you don't see them all the time. And Monica is not someone that you really see. Like I think she's recently doing more like reality TV. She's on
Hmm.
VH1 with Tiny and Ti and Friends and things of that sort. But before that, you didn't really see Monica
Very low key.
for real. Very low key. Like she has a social media presence on Instagram, but it's still like very like Monica
Hmm.
kind of keeps to herself for the most part. And I remember when she got married to Shannon, it was a big deal. And it was like, you know what? I'm happy for her. She's doing good things.
Yeah.
She seems happy. They seem happy together. She seemed really supportive. Again, seemed. We don't
Yep.
know these things. Um, so to hear that they're getting a divorce after 8 years, it's sad. Like, and I say
Yeah.
sad, like it's not like I'm really sad, but it's like I feel for her. I feel for them because
Yeah. Well, nobody gets married to get divorced,
right.
right? And so I think that if nothing else, you feel sad when you hear about relationships ending, even if it's a really good reason, because that's just not that's not why anybody got into it.
Hmm.
But I agree. I think she's been such a private person. When they first got together, there was all of this kind of swooning, I think, about their relationship, and her
Hmm.
and her swooning about how happy she was and their family, and but you only see people's highlights or highlight reels. I was surprised about kind of the social media response to it, with the folks who were like, I'm not surprised. My homegirl was being flown out, you
Which
know.
is crazy because I'm reading that as well, right? And I'm like, but why didn't we hear about this before? Like
Yeah.
in this age of social media, like that's the first thing people do. Oop, no, he was in my DMs, y'all. Let me show.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm like, wait, where is this coming from? Which I mean, I am surprised, but it's like, why is it now that we're hearing about it?
Yeah. Well, I
It really
mean, and I
it was
know.
contained. Maybe it may have been just contained in maybe a certain. I don't know.
I know we're gonna get here. I'll call it the John Gray effect.
Okay, we'll do that. Okay, because I can't stand that nigga. But okay, ooh,
I'll call it.
ooh.
There's always something. I think if nothing else, Monica and Shannon splitting, we're hearing about the split, right? Like we're not hearing about, we still don't really know. There's obviously a lot of speculation, but we don't know what it is that was the straw that broke the camel's back, or how long they have been going through whatever they were going through that led them to this point.
Right.
So, you know, all the stories can come out. Who knows? Who knows? Clearly it was all contained, because it hasn't been really out
Right.
there like that, or at least a what do you call it, like a conspiracy or
Not a
allegation that has been floating around,
right. So this is the
in
thing.
mainstream at least.
This is the thing for me. When Monica came back, or it started coming around more, and I say coming around, meaning coming around to the public eye, and
Yep.
doing a little more social media, and getting on the reality show with Ti, something was off for me, because I was like, she went through this period, like you mentioned earlier, where she really was gushing about this guy. And I get it. It's new. If it's a new relationship and that's what you're into or what have you. But then there was a period where you just didn't hear anything about the relationship. Like nothing. Like it was just,
right.
oh, like what's going on? So I thought it was really interesting that, okay, now it's coming out that, you know what? We're getting a divorce. And I guess I can respect it, because everyone doesn't need to know all the ins and outs of your relationship. They don't need to know that things are bad today and then they're good tomorrow. But
Right.
it is surprising.
Yeah. Yep. I agree. And I wonder if even her emergence in the reality TV show was really the start of something going south, right? Where she was like, I need to start getting out here and doing my own thing so that I can, you know, I'm moving my way out of this situation. So I need to be getting myself out here literally
Right.
again. But, you know, again, you never know.
It really embarrasses me. Yeah. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Who is that? Is that my girl?
That's Cammy. Cam, say hi.
Hi, Cam.
Can you say hi so she can hear you?
Hi.
It sounds like a 13-year-old.
That's what she. I think I'm being requested to download something.
I already have
Okay.
a kindergarten thing, but I want this one.
Okay, get Daddy to download it. Go, go, go. Have fun. Love you. Bye. Yeah.
Okay.
Get. Oh. That's pretty much life. Okay, Cam, get out. I got work to do. Bye. Okay. Sorry, guys.
No, you good. You good. So yeah, I wish Monica and Shannon and family the best.
Yeah. Same.
Yeah.
They'll be all right.
Yeah, they will. Did you hear about this scammer that is I mean, he's in jail now, or he's being tried now, but this guy scammed Google and Facebook out of $122 million.
I did not hear the story, and when I read the lead in, I had to tap out, because I just like, it just seems too stupid to be a thing that happens to such, you know, Facebook and Google. Like, so tell me more. Maybe it'll make it less stupid.
Which is wild to me, because I thought about it. Like I was reading it, and hold on, let me find it. But yeah, I was reading the article, and I'm like, I can see how that happens, because I can see if it's like maybe a couple $100, maybe even a couple thousand.
Yeah.
$122 million, bruh. Like, how is this a thing? Like, so the guy's name, let's see. Evaldez Rumasakas. I think that's his name.
Where is that from?
I have no idea. But he pled guilty to U.S. wire fraud, aggravated identity theft, money laundering charges, and last but not least, and he admitted to stealing $99 million from Facebook and $23 million from Google between 2013 and 2015. He was sending false invoices. So he was forging invoices, contracts, and letters that falsely appeared to have been executed and signed by executives and agents of the victims' companies.
Yeah. I still don't like. It's, you know what that feels like? Have you watched Ozarks?
No, I haven't.
Oh man, it's crazy. but uh it just I that just doesn't make sense to me. I cannot wrap my head around that. Like, what are you invoicing? What are you invoicing them for? Like, that can't be an invoice for like office supplies. Like, was it for a new building that was supposed to be constructed? I can't wrap my head around this unless he was nickel and diming his way to $122 million. That it was like, okay, I'm about to send out this little check here, little check there.
No, I mean, they said he had a fake company, fake emails, fake invoices. Let's see, the Department of Justice.
That's why I don't check my mail, just in case somebody's slipping a fake ass invoice in my joint.
Let's see. He impersonated a Taiwan based hardware manufacturer, which both tech companies do use. So he basically
he was an imposter.
Yeah,
he impersonated Taiwan. You were buying this stuff. Okay,
right. He impersonated Taiwan based hardware manufacturer Quanta Computer, which both of the companies use. He set up a company in Latvia with the same name.
Mm-hmm.
Using
I said, "Oh yeah," like I was there this weekend.
Bitch, you been there? Trying to make me feel stupid. Oh yeah, you saying it wrong. I was just there. No, you weren't. Where is it, Shelly? Where is it?
It's over there. It's in the middle of the other
Latvia. What is that?
It's like south of Russia and north of its neighbor.
Oh my God. But yeah, they're saying you're so ridiculous. But yeah, he forged invoices, contracts, letters, corporate stamps, general confusion created by corporate doppelganger. They successfully bamboozled Google and Facebook into paying tens of millions of dollars in fraudulent bills from 2013 to 2015.
That's absolutely insane. Absolutely. So how did he get caught?
Let's see.
Somebody actually read the mail.
Probably both companies said
like, they remember like the Coach bags, and then you'd be looking for the instead of the C, it's the little G. Like
yes,
like they looked at the invoice and they was like, "There's something off about this logo."
Oh my God, this is. Let's see. Oh wait, the FBI's Internet Crime Complaint Center issued an advisory in June warning that this type of fraud called business email compromise is up by 1,300% since January 15th. So, I mean, that's the thing. Like, if you're doing all of this business online and it's just a normal day for you, you get stuff slipping through the cracks. But damn, like over
you let $122 million run through the cracks. That's nuts.
But these are corporations that have it. 122 million to them is probably
a drop in the bucket.
So,
Lord, just let me be so blessed that I could accidentally pay $122 million in bills.
Right. And so you can go to Latvia. Get the hell out of here.
I think it's Latvia.
Latvia? Okay, now correct me. Yeah, okay. Anyway, speaking of scammers. Oh my God. So I haven't talked about this on the show, and I just wanted to mention it here because people are still talking about it. But the school scandal, the school admission scandal that involved Felicity Huffman and Aunt Becky from Full House. Mm-hmm. And I want to get your take on it because you do have young children, and I've heard, both sides of the story. Meaning I've heard, people say things like, we'll do any and everything for our children. And then I've also heard, the motherfuckers need to go to jail. They committed fraud. Yes, this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
My personal take on it is I get it. Like, you will do anything for your children. Like,
right.
But spending millions of dollars or hundreds of thousands of dollars or tens of thousands of dollars to get your child into a school that they probably shouldn't be at anyway is absolutely ridiculous to me. Mm-hmm. The reason why I say that is I think it's Aunt Becky's daughter. She is on record.
That poor woman don't even have a name. She just Aunt Becky does.
Yeah, Yeah, on Becky.
Wow.
Her daughter has been like, because her daughter's like has like a YouTube
YouTube.
following and a social
Mm-hmm.
media following. Like she's used the college to basically, gain more followers because she has like this whole dorm room presence situation or what have
Right.
you. But she's gone on record multiple times, like being like, yo, I don't even know what I'm gonna learn in college because I don't want to be here. Like
Right.
she had no interest in ever even being there. And I'm not giving that's not an excuse because there are
Yeah.
plenty of kids whose parents send them to college the normal way, like
Yep.
her parents and mine.
Yep.
And some of us didn't want to be there either. So I'm not, that's lower on the totem pole as far as
Right.
why this is so bad. For
Right.
me, it's like y'all went to extreme measures. Like you were copying and pasting, like superimposing people's heads on
Mm-hmm.
bodies.
Mm-hmm.
And then on top of that, you were putting money into some fund and then getting like a tax break from it. Like you were claiming this. You were claiming this as like a donation or a charitable donation or whatever it was. Like you were double dipping in your fraud. And I'm
Yep.
like like the nerve of people.
Yeah. I mean, my position is that one, I don't want to enable my children to just be mediocre, or to feel entitled to just exist and be anywhere just because, right? So um there is something to be said about uh, there are a couple of layers for me. One is, if you for parents who donate a lot of money to schools,
Mm-hmm.
and then they end up getting in and that donation was a part of it, I separate that from what these parents did, in that you may have paid the school, but everybody still knew that the kid was subpar. Right, and they
Right.
let them through the loophole. They use their subjective ability to make a judgment decision, and they put them in the school, and then you figure it out. um
It's
these
kind of like a
parents,
legacy thing. Like people have been doing that for decades, for years.
right, and it's still
It's
doing and
still
operating
wrong.
from a place of privilege. It's still wrong. Everybody should earn their way in, but I think that the level to which these parents defrauded the system and lied, I mean, they were
Oh my
making up,
God.
to me, I'm like, that's identity theft. Like, you put your kid's head on another person's body and said that they
Yeah.
played a sport that they never played, or you changed the credentials of the piss poor sport that they did play and made them a top ranking person to get a scholarship, which you don't need. You don't need the scholarship. It's not merit based. It's not, an athletic scholarship. You don't have that level of athleticism or performance, but you're changing SAT scores and ACT scores. And, it's not just I paid for you to give my subpar kid that we all know and acknowledge a break and get them through the loophole. You created an entirely different identity for these kids to give them an opportunity, which took away from the kids who had earned it, and the opportunities for those who had done everything that they needed to do. So, I definitely think that they should be held accountable. I think the parents should be held accountable. I feel bad for a lot of the kids, though, in the way that I feel bad for them, because it's like, what have your parents really prepared you for? And now the fallout of this is going to follow you too. Um, I'm not convinced that they knew nothing about it, and that they weren't a part of it and participating in it to some extent. Um, but
I-
it's messy. It's complicated, but I think that it is the prime example of what privilege looks like, and it
I'm
just kind of
just
came to a head.
I'm looking, as I dig deeper and I read more about what they did, I'm like, why did you do all of that? Like that's excessive. Like we all had the cousin, or we were even the person whose parents was like, okay, listen, I'm gonna put your grandma's address on your school so you can go to the better school. Like, okay, you do things that you can to make sure that your kids get the best quality education. This right here, you know that your child is not qualified. Like at the point, like I get it, privilege. I get it. Like there's certain things that you are given or afforded because you have certain levels of privilege. But at the
Right.
point where you say, you know what, I want my child to take the SAT in a whole nother state or in a special room. Just say you want to cheat for your child. Just say that.
What?
Like these are not accommodations. Like you literally have someone feeding your either have someone feeding your child the answers or you have hired someone else to take the
Oh
SAT.
yeah,
Like
absolutely.
even the way that it's being reported, I'm like, y'all are still dancing around the issue. Like,
Right.
no. They were cheating and scamming.
Right. Yep.
So I don't know.
Okay. It's a mess, but again, I think this is what privileged people can do, and they've probably been getting away from it. This was just kind of the most blatant example of that we've seen recently. And go to a HBCU.
That's it.
What
Excellence.
can I say?
Excellence with caring. Come to
Right.
FAMU. That's all that is.
All right, hold on. I gotta switch something on this phone right quick.
Okay. Shells, you there?
On mute. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right, my phone was dying.
Oh, I figured. I was like, she going to go plug up that phone.
Okay.
Um. So yeah, I mean, it's wild. Speaking of being wild, Shells, your city, Chicago. It's a lot going on, man.
It always is.
It's a lot. So last week we talked about I talked about Jesse Smollett and getting all the charges dropped. And of course, you know how I feel about it. Like I think Jesse might very well be a nutcase, but I don't think that he deserves to go to prison. I don't know why he lied, but hey, it is what it is. We can speculate all we want, but I really don't care. But it seems like the city of Chicago is just not letting up from the top down. The mayor, Rahm Emanuel, who at one point I thought was a decent person, and the more and more that he is at the helm of the city of Chicago, I just feel like he's full of shit. So he comes out the other day and does a press conference and is basically like just talking about how much of an injustice this is and how privilege. It's funny, we're talking about privilege and the justice system and a black man, but whatever.
Yeah.
And how privilege won today and how he's going to ensure that Jesse pays back the city over $130,000 because of all the man hours that the police department put into this fake incident, if you will. Stupid ass Trump tweeted that the FBI is going to look into this situation. I'm just confused as to where this energy is when the police department shoots Black people in the street and no cops get any charges filed against them. Like I'm confused as to why there's so much energy being placed on this. Like, yes, I get it. Listen, this was stupid. I don't know what happened, but like the FBI, bruh, like,
Yeah.
Rom, I need you to keep that same energy. Like, what are we doing? Like, so I feel like you're in the area. Like, what's the vibe like? Like, what's the reaction been like?
Well, I think it's consistent with yours. I think most Black people honestly feel like, what the hell, Jesse? Like, one of the craziest stories. There's no real clarity still as to what or why or how we thought this was going to work or not work. But there is a bit of kind of complacency about it, regardless of what we feel about Jesse's actions, um, as it relates to him getting away with it, because there is such a history with the Chicago Police Department and African American communities, and violence and aggression and murders, frankly, against Black men, that it's kind of like, you know, well, like, yeah, he was wrong, yeah, he crazy, but y'all have done enough stuff that if he gets off, it kind of feels like the same, similar, I should say, to OJ.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's
Kind
exactly
of
what
this sense of like, I think you actually did it, but I'm gonna take some comfort that you got off.
right.
Not
Well,
not because it has anything to do with the victims, and it has anything to do with
but we were just
what
coming off the
happened.
heels of Rodney King.
Right.
And also, just to back up, when the trial was happening, I do believe that there were a lot of people who did not believe that OJ did it. It seemed as if
Yeah.
it immediately after he was acquitted, it was kind of like, wait,
Right.
I think that nigga did it.
Actually, now that I think about it,
Yeah, think about it, but I don't
he
really
sat through
feel
this whole trial.
bad that he's not in jail. I just don't want him
Yeah,
coming over to my
over
house.
here. Yeah, I think that I was talking to
Wait,
a
hold on.
family member.
You're you sound very far away. What happened to the headphones?
Can you hear me? I couldn't plug them into
Oh, you wait.
the dongle, because I needed to charge the phone before it died.
Oh my God.
What if I do this? Is that better?
I'm afraid
A
that
little
it's
bit?
not gonna
That you're
sound,
not going to hear me?
yeah, that in the recording I'm not gonna hear you because it's Bluetooth. Um, and you're using your phone.
Right. With this, our fancy new phones with this one thing for a charger and the headset.
I hate that about phones. Okay. Um, let's see. Because I don't know if I'm gonna be able to hear you. Like, because you already sound faint here. I think
Uh-huh.
by the time we play the recording, people are gonna be like, "What is she saying?"
Okay, well, let me switch. I'll switch it back.
Okay.
And then what I may do is just kind of unplug it and put the charger back in for a little bit while you're talking, and I'll mute, and then I'll come back on.
Okay.
Dongle.
How much power do you have?
It's in the red zone. It's looking kind of bad.
Oh Lord.
Hold on. I gotta make sure I have the right part on. Okay.
Okay.
So, I think a lot of people, as it relates to Jesse's story and what the Chicago PD have done, is that there is some complacency in it. I was talking to my family about, the story and Rom's position and his statement and all of that, even the chief of police. And our thought is that because there's been so much corruption with Chicago PD, that
Mm-hmm.
Jesse and his team had something against them. That they were like, if you don't let him off, we're going to put this out.
That
And
is real.
so the deal that they came to drop all the charges was still to, in our speculation, protect the image of a police department that is known for corruption, some evidence of that coming out to the public. And so
Mm-hmm.
now Rom's statement, the chief of police statement, is more to save face. I'm sure they feel however they feel about it, right? But like, this is because they got backed into a corner. And what
Mm-hmm.
else are they going to do?
You're right. That makes sense. Yeah. Jesse got to get out of Chicago. Like,
Yeah,
he's got to get out of
that
Chicago.
I would agree with. I don't think that there's anything favorable to him, and I hope he gets whatever help that he needs. Because I even looking at the story, I still just cannot understand
Nobody can.
what you thought you were going to get out of this. I just don't see how we thought that this was going to be better for you. I mean, beyond the point that now people know his name, who maybe never watched Empire, didn't know nothing about his family.
But he ain't gonna have no job after this. Like,
Right.
no one's gonna hire you, sir. Like, you're
Right.
no one. I don't know.
It's not a good look at all. But Rom's got to be mad because they invested the time in it and they brought that energy to the city, and it's independent. It's easier to kind of point fingers and hold other people responsible, I think, than it is to look at yourself. But I think they've been backed into a corner. They gotta say something right now, otherwise shit's gonna hit the fan for them.
Rom looks stupid. Anyway, well, speaking of looking stupid, the thing that I wanted to touch on today, let's talk about it. Oh my God, John Gray. So, I've talked about John Gray on the show before. For those of you who don't know, John Gray is a pastor. He used to preach out of Lakewood Church in Houston, Texas, under Joel Osteen. He has since moved and but I think a church gate made him the main pastor out in South Carolina. He has a show on the OWN network. He was up and coming. Like, he has a lot of promise to be he had a lot of promise to be one of these new, relatively hip and cool young pastors. And over the last year now, he's been in the news in the blogs, I'll say, for infidelity. He's been in the blogs and on talk shows for saying stupid shit that just people would be like, I don't understand what you're talking about. I don't understand why you said that. One of his most famous tirades, if you will, he thought he was saying something prolific, and I was like, no, you're not, was when he was talking about his wife and how she basically is a covering for him. She's a cloak for him while he grows up and becomes the man that he needs to be. And it's like, what are you talking about? Like, why are you not the man you're supposed to be before she got there? Like, I'm not understanding,
Right.
like, what you're talking about. Like, he sounded like, how do I say this? He sounded like a biblical fuck nigga. That's what he sounded like. Like, I was like, that's all I could come up with. Like, okay, this he a fuck nigga of the cloth. All right, cool. Got it. And he just has continued to dig himself a hole, and that I don't think he's going to be able to get out of. So, toward the end of the year and earlier this year, it came out that, he was cheating on his wife, or there was some infidelity. And it sparked a lot of a lot of ears started to perk up because he had purchased his wife a Lamborghini or something like that. And not only did he purchase it, but like he flaunted it. It was like, this is what I got my wife, and everybody on social media. And it was like, that looked like I apologize for being
right. I'm sorry, gift
of the cloth. Right. Like something ain't right. So of course people, went to digging, because when you put your business out there, we talked about this earlier with Monica and Shannon, when you put your business out there, people are going to go looking. So it started to come out that, he got a side piece, and side piece might be pregnant, and yada, 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 yada. So, recently he was on The Real, I believe, and he was on there with his wife. And he was just talking about how these stories are wrong. He hasn't slept with anyone. He did seek counsel from someone. These are the code words that he's using. He did seek counsel from someone outside of his wife. And he realizes that was inappropriate, but he did not sleep with this woman, and that, his wife now knows, and they're working on it, blah, 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 blah. And so much has happened in between this time. My issue is, John, if you're going to lie, just don't say nothing at all. Like, just shut up. Don't say anything, because you going to sit up here on television and tell us that you found counsel in someone and it was inappropriate. What type of counsel is inappropriate? Like, either you found counsel or you was fucking this woman. Like, it's either or, but you can't say you found like, if you're going to talk about it, right? And then if you're going to talk about it and you're going to lie, like, don't leave obvious clues for people to find and then use against you. So it then came out that this guy left voicemails. Like the other woman was like, no, he's a liar, and I have the voicemails to prove it. And I have heard these voicemails. Shelly has heard them. She has done extensive research on this.
Too much.
Which is hilarious. But yeah, he left these voicemails, y'all, and it's like, it's him, and he's telling this woman, hey, my wife knows. Delete these messages, this, that, and the other, but she doesn't know that it's a mess. It's like it's like Tiger Woods all over again, honestly. But it's a mess, right? And I'm like, wait, she knows that she was in the hotel, that you were in the hotel that we were in. So this is my thing. Like, there's so many levels of disrespect here. I just want to get this out, and then I want to get your perspective on this, Shells. But you are cheating on your wife. You are known. You are a B, C, I'll say like a C celebrity. People know you in certain genres and pockets of the US or whatever. So you know that if you are going to cheat, there's already an added layer of embarrassment. Like, being cheated on, whatever, there's already embarrassment there. But when you are someone who people know, that's just an added layer of embarrassment. But then the ultimate disrespect, like, you had this woman in the same hotel that your wife was staying in? What the?
Yep.
I'd have to kill you. That's it. Like, you're okay, cool. Your life ends here. So I have so much more to say, but I just want to kind of, what do you take of all of this? Like, what are your thoughts? Because I'm not understanding how people can still go to his church. I'm not understanding how people can still receive the word from him. Like, I get it. Pastors are human, that, and the other. So I'm not saying that pastors have to be like these perfect beings. Not at all. But what you're not going to do is talk to me about God and doing the right thing and living a righteous life, and your shit is in the bush right now. Like, your shit is fucked up. Shout out to Grudge. Like, your shit is like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I'd only heard bits and pieces of this story. I remember hearing about the car, and the allegations that were floating around. I ended up looking up this Larry Reed Live. So Larry Reed Live is apparently where the
Larry Reed is a mess too.
also someone I never heard of before,
Me
and I
neither.
started watching it, and I was so confused, and then yeah, that's a whole nother interesting character.
Yes.
Man of the cloth, I think. Who ran a commercial in the middle of his show about being a spiritual advisor, and this was after he was like, "You can join my website, but you got to pay my website a free." I was so confused. The whole thing, I was so confused by all of it. But anyway, so I he has this live show, and I listened to the whole thing. So he ran 20 minutes he played the clips of those conversations in the voicemail. But he also played 20 minutes of a conversation that he had with the mistress and her homegirl. I don't really understand why homegirl was on the phone, but she was there. And the voicemails are bad enough. They are bad enough. He clearly is concealing as much as he can her existence from his wife in the voicemail. That's clear and obvious. But listening to this 20-minute conversation, which I'm just going to assume is actually the mistress, the mistress is a person who John Gray has known for 20 some years. Like, they grew up together in Ohio, have been friends for a long time. And it started because he was helping her. She was coming out of a divorce. She asked him to help with a friend who was like a drug addict or something. And he helped get the guy cleaned up. And then it was like, if you ever need anything, let me know. And then
If you need me to drop off this dick, I got you.
Pretty much.
Nasty motherfucker.
And then it
This nigga said is this where she tells him that he speaks in tongues when he comes? You know what?
Yes.
John Gray, fuck you, dog.
It was so much. And
so what else did she say? Like, I'm sorry, I cut you off because I got upset.
It's okay. No, so it was, she would, whenever he would come in town, they would connect. He would go get her money. They would meet. He went to her daughter's like dance studio. That's what one of those voicemail was from. He was upset because she wasn't answering the phone. He was supposed to meet her at the studio.
Right.
But he was out with her, at least to the child's extracurricular events, meeting people. And the woman was like, I still have like my room key card from that particular night. And he not only kept her on the same room, but left in the middle of the night to go and see her. And so her thing was the Aventer, I guess is the wife's name, didn't remember him leaving the room.
That's what he thinks, nigga.
That's what he thinks. But so my thing is, there's so many layers to this. I think when you're a public figure, obviously that makes everything just way, 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 way more complicated. But I don't know that I am the kind of person, and even the kind of wife, that would go sit on a talk show and hold your hand and clap and smile when we're still figuring it out.
We don't have nothing. You are not the president of the United States. I don't need to come up there with you. If you want to do that, go ahead, do that. No,
I'm not going to. And that's not to say that they shouldn't or she shouldn't be, supportive of him or open to trying to figure out what happened. I'm just not about to be sitting looking like a Cheshire cat on no TV show when, you know what I mean? Like, we're still figuring it out, and it's clearly not contained
at all.
And so, the mistress alleges a lot of things, which I'll take with a grain of salt. She said, stuff like he married a Venter. John Gray married a Venter because she looked good on paper, that he helped to position him in having the image of someone who was becoming, a pastor, having a nice, pleasant wife and all of those things, that he's upset because they're young kids. She doesn't take care of the kids. He pays for them to go into daycare, like all kinds of things that I absolutely
she doesn't wash his clothes, his drawers, to be exact.
Right.
I wouldn't want to
Right.
wash them sheets either. The fuck?
Listen. Whatever the case may be, it definitely sounded like things that could be grievances of, in a relationship. Absolutely
Right.
could be. There are parts of it that could make sense when you're now a high profile pastor with an
Mhm.
image, right?
Mhm.
And a brand and all of these things. I think this is just a case of where, the spotlight just got too big for you, and you forgot your mess was in the spotlight too. But it's an absolute mess. So I don't know what happens. Like, I don't know what happens to John Gray's show. I don't know what happens to John Gray's church. I
I
don't know
mean,
how I could sit in the audience, and God forbid that there is even more to this story that ain't already came out.
listen,
I you
I'm
know
confused. Like they brought his show back just a couple of weeks ago on
Well,
OWN.
it's hot right now,
Yeah,
right?
it's hot
Like,
right now, but
I'm about to watch it just to see what I can pick up on.
see if he drops some clues.
Right.
Like, oh,
Like a
look,
murder mystery now.
he ain't even really holding her hand right there. Look at that. I don't know. Like, I
Right.
just want John Gray to get out of the limelight. I want him and Aventer to figure out what it is they're going to figure out. And I want him to not be out here preaching to people's souls, because it's one thing to be a nasty fuck nigga. That's one thing. And it's another thing to, to be, a blindly led wife, like seemingly, right? But I'm just thinking about his occupation and what he does for a living and how it affects real people. Like, this affects real people. You sir, like, you just cannot, you can't do both. You cannot do both at the same time. Like, you can't. It's unfair to your congregation. It's unfair to people who really believe in you. Like, and you shouldn't, because, and that's the thing. Like, a lot of folks go to church and they're believing in the pastor, and you need to be believing in the word, this, that, and the other. I totally get that.
Yeah.
But in this case, it's like you're too far gone. Like, I can't even separate the man and the word. Like, no, I don't. I wouldn't want to hear shit from you, at least not right now. You got to go through some type of therapy. I need to see growth.
Yeah, I think it feels very much like, at best, if we give them all the benefit of the doubt, that you are a broken person right now.
Yes.
And that how can you effectively lead and guide other people through their challenges and through their spiritual journey when at this time you are broken? Maybe you weren't broken when you started preaching, and prayerfully you won't be broken next year. But right now, it's not enough to lean on. I'm human too, and so I make mistakes, and that should be sufficient to excusing my brokenness while I guide you. I'm just not trying to follow the hobbling man to
I'm
the
not.
promised man.
Like,
I would rather I need somebody who is clear and who is strong, and it maybe been through something and overcome something, but not struggling in the midst of it, and certainly not dragging your wife into it. And I think some of this also resonates with people more because of some of those comments that you mentioned before, some of the ways that he talks about the role of his wife and Aventer and what she is. It's always like you've enabled him in so many ways, and he's used you as a crutch and a covering for your mistakes and your mishaps and your whatever. And so we've exceeded the point now that she's supposed to be completing you. Now you're just gonna drag her along in your mess. And they both are responsible, right? Like, she has to make a decision about how she wants to be treated even in this. But I think some of it is more upsetting because, like, we've had this tee up, to the point, and now it's like, and now all of this is happening too. Like, you being this messy and disrespectful,
bro. You doing the most.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So it's a mess. Godspeed.
And Larry Reed is a mess. Good God, I tell you what,
man.
I hope my name don't ever have to end up on Larry Reed live show, child, because he is a tall smoking cup of tea that just spills all over the place for like hours, and then be all in the name of Jesus.
I can't.
It's all spiritually advised too.
It's all mess. I just want to say this one last thing on the issue, because again, I don't see it for John Gray, but for anyone who's listening, to the show. I know that we are all, humans, and you're not supposed to judge, and people believe in what they believe in, and you know, whatever it is, whoever your higher calling is, that's great. But please, y'all, don't be out here literally speaking in tongue while you're coming. Like, I need you. Like,
That's so nasty. No.
That's so disgusting on so many levels. Like, don't do that. Like, I wish a motherfucker would. Bitch, what? What are you doing? What are you talking about? So like, immediately get off me. We're done.
No, thank you.
We're done here. No. So don't. Yeah, that's got to be separate. Like,
gross.
Anyway. So yes. Well, that's it. We're done. Like, that's all I had to talk about this week. Before I get out of here, or before we get out of here this week, I want to let the folks know what's in my beats this week.
This week,
you said what?
We getting out of here this week.
We getting out of here. Us. We. I have I want to say up and coming new artist. She's relatively popular. I keep hearing about her. I keep hearing or seeing people at her shows or wanting to go to her shows. This young lady goes by the name of Summer Walker. She has an album that came out earlier this year called Last Day of Summer. And there's a song on here that I keep hearing that I really love. I really think it's dope. And I think there's actually a remix with Drake. But this song is called Girls Need Love. And it's basically talking about all the stuff that is real, like how women cannot talk about, their sexual desires and things of that sort. So shout out to Summer for tapping into her feminine side and showing her power here. I like the song. I think you guys will enjoy it. It's got dope little vibe, real cool. And so just check out Summer Walker, Girls Need Love. Because fucking Google will try my ass and be like, you playing Summer Walker? No.
Stop you right in a minute.
Fucking bastards. So yes, that was my girl, Summer Walker, Girls Need Love. Listen, it's a dope album, dope track. Y'all go check her out. She's touring right now, hitting, your local club and lounge and things of that sort. So she's doing her thing. Shout out to all these new and up and coming artists. I'm loving the fresh faces, the fresh vibes. And that's what's in my beats this week. Girls Need Love.
Nice.
So we have gotten to the end of the show.
No.
4 years in this thing. I had to get my homie on the track.
Oh, I'm back.
So, thank you so much for joining me this week. I really appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you for having me. Absolutely. And being patient with me. So y'all, just so you know, Irene had to slow breathe her way to cueing this to record, because I have literally not touched any of this life since the last day, and things have changed, and I was most confused, and I felt like a little old lady trying to get back.
No, this was the longest recording ever. But it was great. It was wonderful. I was like, God damn it, Shelly, what is up with technology really ain't, what Shelly be. As long as she can send an email, she's good.
That's it. Don't judge my little computer.
But no, for real, this was great. I really love the fact that you were able to come onto the show. Thank you for
absolutely
obliging my kind of sort of last minute request.
Absolutely.
I appreciate it. FSG is just FSG. I'm out here doing my thing, and I cannot thank you enough for joining me on this ride the first 3 years of the show. It was definitely good times. Definitely good times. So thank you so much.
Of course. I'm so proud of you. Don't ever replace me.
You ain't got to worry about it.
Very good. I'm the one and only co-host, but like I said, I'm so proud of you. I'm proud of everything that you were doing. As much as we talked about the transition and it growing and flourishing in a way, that was in your vision. I have watched you do every single bit of that. And I watched you take 18 took 18, just
Yeah.
as you plan to. So I'm so proud of you. I am thrilled to be able to sit back behind the mic with you for a little bit and chop it up. I love you.
I love you
I
right
love
back.
FSG, and I might be bothering you to come sit in the studio again sometime soon.
We'll see if I have time.
Yeah, and if I can get my mic
you can
and
get
my
your equipment
chargers
together. But yeah, well, that's all I got this week for you guys. This is dope. Yo, I guess we're done. So in true and original FSG fashion, tell the people bye, Shells.
Bye, people.
I love it. I love it. It was dope. Thanks, Shells.
Thanks, Boo. This was fun.
Lots of